What's up, everyone? We are live at 5. It's Thursday, February 27th, 2020. We are here in the heart of Times Square, Broadway.com. I'm Paul Wontorek.
And I'm Ryan Lee Gilbert.
And we're joined by Caitlin Moynihan.
Hello.
No jazz hands.
No jazz hands.
No jazz hands for Andrew
Oh
Burnap.
Yes!
Andrew Burnap is here.
Yes,
of The Inheritance. Not sure if you guys knew, but we like that play around here at Broadway.com.
We're big fans.
We do. We love it. Tears have been shed. Anyway, it's coming into its final weeks. We have a lot to talk about, but first, today's top 5.
This Tony nominee is going from Audrey 2 to the other 2.
Yes, we
Oh,
were
that was
talking
clever.
about that's very clever, right? Yes. We were talking about Gideon Glick, of course, who is currently starring as Seymour in Off-Broadway's Little Shop of Horrors, and he is going to have a recurring gig on the hilarious Comedy Central show The Other Two.
So funny.
Which we love. We are big fans. He's going to be playing a character named Jess, and he is the new boyfriend of Carrie, a character played by Drew Tarver. And he is a laid-back guy who appears to be very into Carrie and seamlessly able to roll with the punches.
That means he doesn't roll with the punches.
Probably not. It's very ironic here. The Other Two also features Helena York. Of course, she plays Carrie's sister Brooke, and they are the older siblings of a young man who is becoming like a budding pop star. He's kind of like based on Bieber. Yes, of course. Very excited. Gideon Glick is, of course, very excited. Filming of the series' second season is currently underway, so we should be able to see him on our TV screen soon. But right now, you should also head over to the theater, the West Side Theater, to see him in Little Shop of Horrors.
Mm-hmm. And audiences are just really loving Dana H, you guys.
You guys, they are. And I haven't seen it yet. I feel really out of the loop. But this is Lucas Nath's new play, and he's a super talented playwright who, of course, wrote Doll's House Part 2 and Hillary and Clinton.
Big fan.
And yes, I'm a big fan. To Dana H is fascinating. It's about his mom, right?
It is.
And
yes.
Deidre O'Connell is like lip syncing to recordings of his mom.
Yes.
Right?
A
Isn't
real
that,
recording.
Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
But
apparently
it's supposed to be brilliant. It's at the Vineyard Theater. It is now extended, 2 extra weeks through April 11th. So
another
got to
big
go check
hit
it out. Les
for
Waters is the director, and everyone's raving about it. So congratulations, Les Waters.
And we have been swept away by this casting news.
Yes, so we've previously talked about the Avett Brothers. They're a popular rock music group. They have a musical called Swept Away. This is the world premiere. It is directed by Tony winner Michael Mayer, and it is happening at California's Berkeley Repertory Theater beginning June 14th. It'll play through July 26th. We already knew that Tony winner John Gallagher Jr. and Tony nominee Stark Sands were involved, and now we found out that Wayne Duvall and Adrian Blake Ensko will be joining the cast. It is, I believe, only the 4 of them. Written by Tony winner John Logan, and it features the music of the Avett Brothers. It is set in 1888 off the coast of New Bedford, Massachusetts, when a violent storm sinks a whaling ship. The 4 surviving souls each face a reckoning.
The poster, this is pre-Broadway. They're not saying that, but I mean, there's a lot of talent involved in this show. But the poster reminds me of The Lighthouse, the movie The Lighthouse, right? Similar.
Yes.
I made a face because it's a crazy movie.
That movie.
That was a crazy movie.
But I'm really looking forward to Swept Away. This sounds
Me too.
amazing, and the Avett Brothers are fantastic. So very cool.
Mm-hmm. And even more Broadway names have signed on to show off what they wish they could sing on the Broadway stage.
Broadway Backwards is always a lot of fun. It's for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. And let's see, this is like gender swapping. And
Yes. You get to play.
It's not miscast.
No,
I'm sorry, there's 2 different big benefits.
Spins.
Yeah, so Jen Colella is hosting it, which I think is a fantastic idea. It's her 2nd year doing it. So we found out that, let's see, Vianne Cox, Stephen DeRosa, Robbie Fairchild, Jordan Fisher, Katie Huffman, Nikki M. James, J. Armstrong Johnson, Beth Malone, and Brandon Uranowitz all been added to. We already knew Laura Benanti, Jen Colella, Andre DeShields, Jesse Tyler Ferguson, Derek Klena, James Snyder. There's a lot of people. A lot of Tony winners.
Yeah,
anyway,
here.
This is all happening Monday, March 16th at 8 p.m. at the New Amsterdam Theater.
Mm-hmm. And a one stage icon is going to be helping celebrate another stage icon.
Yes, speaking of Tony winners, Bette Midler will be making her first GLAAD Media Awards appearance. This took too long for Bette Midler. It is the 31st annual ceremony. It's happening on March 19th.
Playing hard to get.
She is, I guess so. Bette Midler will be introducing Ben Platt, who will be giving a performance at the event. Of course, they won their Tonys in the same year, 2017, for Best Leading Actress and Actor in a Musical. Hello, Dolly and Dear Evan Hansen, of course. They also co-star on that Netflix series, The Politician, which I know you and I are both big fans of.
You're not supposed to know she's in it.
Oh, that's right.
Until
It's like the
final
last episode.
Anyway, now you know.
But now you know. I
Spoiler.
spoiled it. Sorry. As previously announced, the Outstanding Broadway Production GLAAD Award category includes The Inheritance.
Ah!
Oh my goodness gracious. Slave Play, Jagged Little Pill, Choir Boy, and What the Constitution Means to Me. It will also feature a special tribute to two-time Tony winner Judith Light, who is being presented with the Excellence in Media Award.
What else do you want to say about Judith Light?
What else do I? She's
She's
also
in The Politician. Spoil everything.
She is. She's amazing in this. Second season's going to be wild, folks. Can't wait.
Anyway, also on the site, I got to interview Mr. David Allen Greer
Yes.
of The Soldier's Play.
He's incredible
He's
in
such
that,
a funny
yeah.
guy, but he actually got emotional talking about his first Broadway show. It was called The First.
Oh,
That's what your
wow.
first
Wow.
Broadway
How
credit
very
should
fitting.
be.
Yeah,
Or The Inheritance. That's another good first Broadway credit. And Caitlin McNaney did some portraits of the cast of Girl from the North Country,
Yes,
which are fantastic.
of course, they're so cool.
What else?
Mockingbird happened at Madison Square Garden
did.
yesterday, so we have some coverage of that as well. We're still celebrating Black History Month here. Of course, Renee Elise Goldsberry honored 3 Black actresses you should read to find out who she honors and who inspired her. And a first look at intimate apparel.
Oh, yeah, the
intimate
opera
apparel
version
opera
of
version of this.
the play.
Yeah, very
Right,
cool.
right.
So lots of cool stuff to check out on the site right now. But yeah, don't go anywhere just now, right? Stick where you are. Stay where you are.
Thank you,
My
Ryan.
pleasure. My
I love it when you
pleasure.
wear your Whitney shirt.
Yes, Whitney.
Hey, Caitlin, why don't you
Yeah.
tell everyone about today's guest?
Gladly. Yes, guys, we got Andrew Burnap here with us in the studio today. He's going to talk about all things The Inheritance, both parts 1 and part 2. This marks Andrew Burnap's Broadway debut. He plays Toby Darling in the role, but guys, he's been doing this for quite a little bit. He did this in London. He did in the West End. Now he's here on Broadway. But this is not his first time working with playwright Matthew Lopez, because he appeared in The Legend of Georgia McBride, all on the West Coast. So he knows what he's doing. Make sure you guys follow him on social media at @Burnap and leave all of your questions down below. Please welcome Andrew and Paul.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Yay!
How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I like
Good.
this. The
You
fashion.
like this?
I like
This is J. Crew. I got it on sale.
Oh, okay, cool.
I honestly didn't realize that we were going to be on camera today.
Oh.
And then walked in and I was like, this works.
No, it totally works.
Right?
I'm into it. It's good.
Great. Awesome. I'm into it too. I also
How
have my
are
new
you-
Broadway.com mug. Which
we
I
have
very,
multiple
very much
versions
love.
of that.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
We've all been wearing black here at the office for a little
I
bit,
know.
for a week now, right? It's
know.
been a week since we found out The Inheritance
Yeah,
is
right.
actually ending.
Right.
It's a claimed run on what, March 15th?
March 15th, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you have 3 more weeks. You're in your
3
there's
more
2 more
weeks.
weeks left this
Yeah,
week. You guys
yeah.
really go see it. Trust me. Trust me on this. How are people feeling? It's been an interesting journey
Yeah.
for this show.
I think everyone is, it's a bummer.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely. But everyone is committed to going out with a bang and doing it on our own terms. And we understand the sort of difficulties and challenges of the commercial theater. And
Yeah, sure.
they have to be observed. And we might not like it, but we're still, every audience that comes in over the next 3 weeks is deserving of a fresh, new, beautiful show. So that's our commitment.
Yeah, it is. It's a special production.
Mm.
And you're right. A lot of interesting commercial challenges. It's super long.
Totally.
It's told in 2 parts. It's dealing with gay characters. I mean,
Yes.
these are all like real issues.
Yeah, totally.
That maybe potentially would make it not as popular as a Disney musical.
Yeah, exactly. And no one's bursting into song, and no one's really
Yeah.
bursting into dance, other than some club
Although you
scenes in
could burst
Chicago.
into
Yeah,
song,
exactly. Well,
couldn't
maybe
you?
if you wanted me to.
What song would Toby Darling? By the way, I call him Toby Darling.
Toby, darling.
What song would he
Toby
burst
burst into?
into?
Oh, I don't know. Anything about me.
So the I Want song.
Yes, yeah.
There's a lot of good-
Exactly.
Yeah, so it obviously was an interesting challenge from the get-go, but
Yes.
I want everyone to know it's a special piece, and when you think about all of the lives that you have touched with this show, I mean, then it doesn't feel, it feels
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot has happened here.
For those of us who have been given the gift of doing this for 2.5 years now, it feels like we have been given a gift and also have given a gift to many people. So we sort of have that in our hearts no matter what.
Yeah.
Even for those who joined us here in New York, and for those who only did it with us in London, I think everyone is okay with the fact that we were able to tell the story as many times as we have. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's the thing that I will miss the most is the people around it, the hearts and the laughs and the experiences that we all shared together. Those are things that I think I will mourn the most. Yeah, definitely.
So you actually, Matthew Lopez wrote this beautiful play,
Yes, he
and
did.
you knew him previously because
I
you
did.
were in The Legend of Georgia McBride, which is
Yep.
a very different play.
Yeah, a little different. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, 90 minutes, kind of the
Sure.
same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. A little lighter, maybe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
It's a fun
sure.
show.
I think he describes it as a 95-minute ball of fun.
Oh,
Which
sure.
is, I think only one person has described The Inheritance as that. And they didn't see it. So, but yeah, I've known Matthew for, 4 or 5 years now?
Okay, so he said, I wrote this play. Can you come to a reading? Like,
Oh,
let's
man.
just go back
Well,
to that for a minute.
I
And
mean,
when was that?
I'll back up even more. When I did a self-tape for The Legend of Georgia McBride, Matthew apparently said after watching my self-tape, the only thing I learned from this is that he could speak English. Which is hilarious. But this play, I had just finished doing Legend of George McBride in Los Angeles, and my agents had contacted me saying, Matthew has this other play that he's been working on for a very long time.
Wow.
It's kind of epic. We're pushing you for this role, Adam Leo. And I was like, great, how awesome is this? Turned to Matthew and I said, my agents told me about this play that you're working on. I'm excited to read about Adam Leo. He said, absolutely not. You'll never do Adam Leo. That's just not going to happen.
Wow.
And so that was it. Done. Never to be
Right.
spoken of again.
Okay.
Then I got back to New York.
Samuel Levine plays
Yes,
Adam
exactly.
Leo. Yes.
Thank God.
Uh-huh.
And then I got to New York, and they were doing a 3-day workshop of it. And they asked me to be, I believe I played young Walter.
Oh, okay.
I played Tucker. And maybe 1 or 2 other parts. But I finally got to read the play in its entirety, understand who was involved with it. And it's one of those instances where you read something and you're sort of changed forever in a moment.
Yeah.
Or rather in 7 hours of moments. I felt very strongly like I needed to be a part of this play in whatever way, shape, or form I could. But I don't know if the people around me were as committed as I was. You know, I think they wanted, if I wasn't a lead role in it, they were thinking maybe some other things were going to come my way. But then I did a week-long workshop of it, and this time, the night before the workshop, I was asked to play the same roles, and the night before the workshop, Matthew called me and said, I can't get anybody that I want to play Toby, so will you do it for the week as a favor to me? And I was like, yeah, sure, absolutely.
Was this in London?
This was in New York. In New York.
York Oh, in New
This
York,
is in the
okay.
summer of 2017.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. So you couldn't
Yeah.
get any of those
Yes.
other guys. So.
And that's where I first met Sam Levine.
Okay.
He then followed up with, ultimately, you will never play the part in production, but I just want to see what you can do for the week. So he gave me, and I've said this before, he gave me ultimate permission to do whatever I wanted in the workshop.
Wow.
And I think I've learned now that that's how I should audition for the rest of my life, is act like you will never, ever play the part.
Wow.
And maybe just have a little fun where you can.
Was he playing a mind trick with you?
I
or
don't
was
know.
he
I think he was actually
just-
serious that I would never. I think he thought I would never play this part. And then after that week, I fell head over heels in love with Toby, but never really got my hopes up because I had his words in the back of my
Sure.
mind. Fast forward to the day before Thanksgiving, I got a phone call. You have the offer to play Toby Darling, and I cried for a very long time. Felt my life would change, and it has. It's been the greatest gift of my life so far.
Can you verbalize that any further? Like what actually? How have you changed? How are you a different guy than the one that walked into that
I mean,
reading?
I had never left the United States ever before doing this play. I got my passport. I got to see a bit of the world. I went to Paris before going to London because I knew that I would be there for a while and I wanted to see another place first. And it sort of just expanded my view of the world and also expanded my own sense of my own humanity and my own worth and my own place in the world. And having people come up and tell us their stories after the play has affected me deeply, in understanding that there is suffering all around us and every human has gone through something, and for this play, our very particular something. And it's sort of made me feel connected to fellow humans in a way that I've never, ever felt before in my life. And I hope that feeling never ends.
That's beautiful. I love the physicality of Toby.
Yeah.
I mean, he just kind of carries him. Is that what you meant about like sort of throwing yourself into it? Did you discover a lot of that?
I think
Toby's a lot.
Yes, Toby is a lot.
Yeah. And
Eric,
you described him as he's a mix of Peter Pan, Gatsby, and Holden Caulfield.
Yes, exactly.
Those are all
exactly.
great jump-offs
yes.
for Toby.
Eric has a line at the end of part 2 where he says, "When I first met you, I thought, oh my gosh, this guy is a lot, but this guy is alive." And I think that's a really beautiful way to describe Toby. He's certainly a lot. He's gone through a lot.
Yeah.
But the face that he presents to the world, the body that he presents to the world, is actually quite different than the person inside. And that's been a really wonderful thing to explore in rehearsals with Matthew and Stephen and Justin and the rest of the cast. I think I've borrowed quite a bit from Matthew in the way that he carries himself and his own physicality, but it's also I've found over time this sort of carefree confidence that is steeped in joy and fun and expansion and appetite.
Right.
That's been one of my favorite parts of exploring Toby, for sure. Yeah.
So how do you? This has been a long journey. What will happen when it's over? I mean, on March 16th. Who's that? Who's Andrew Burnap then?
I don't know. It's funny. I feel like when you are with a character for this long, or a project for this long, it alters your brain chemistry. I mean, how could it not, right? For 50 hours a week, I am in Toby body. I'm in the given circumstances of this play. So of course who I am today and who I'm going to be in a month are going to be two different people. Yeah. And that's kind of wild to wrap your brain around. But I am very much looking forward to 7 o'clock rolling around and saying, I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. That's going to be really wild. Sure. But I guess I'll send you an email when it's there. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I feel like I'll mourn this for quite a while, but I'll also, I'll hopefully find a good book and, get back into that, and also maybe play some tennis and go back to some hobbies that I haven't been able to do for a while.
Well, if you and any of your co-stars want to do any of it in Starbucks, I'll be there.
Yes, exactly.
Just a couple scenes, whatever. If you want to.
We're there. I'm
the
ready.
Inheritance at
Oh
Starbucks.
my gosh, it's gonna be so weird. What am I gonna do? I'll let you know, I guess.
There's a whole life ahead of you.
Yes.
You're a total New England boy. Yeah, Rhode Island.
Grew up in Rhode Island.
You went to Yale.
I did. Before that, I worked at an ice cream shop called Brickley's Ice Cream, where I served none other than Tony Goldwyn.
Oh.
Tony Goldwyn came in one summer.
Wow. Who's now in The Inheritance. I elbowed my coworker at the time and scream whispered, "That's the guy from Ghost." And my coworker looked around and was like, "No, it's not. That's not him. I'm telling you, that's the guy who killed Patrick Swayze. I'm telling you." And the horrible guy from Ghost.
Yeah, exactly. But he was this really sweet and gregarious, joyful guy. And I don't remember what he ordered, but I think his wife got maple walnut. If
love
I
that
think
you
so,
remember
I
that.
think so. But I also do have to say I met her recently and she mentioned maple walnut to me.
Okay.
So I connected the dots
Interesting.
that way.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know what he got.
Did you acknowledge him in the moment?
No, I didn't. I was
No.
horrified. That was
Right.
also before I had met anybody famous in my life.
Right.
And I also wasn't convinced it was him yet because my coworkers seeded such doubt in me when he said, "No, it's not him." But I will never forget that. And then when he showed up to rehearsals one day, I was like, "Dude, have you ever been to Brickley's Ice Cream?" He's like, "We go every summer." I was like, "I knew it!"
Justice.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
What was your greatest role before The Inheritance, other than George McBride? Like, what did you do like that I didn't see early days
Oh.
that was like your big moment?
I mean, the most fun before George McBride and Inheritance was probably when I got to play Dr. Frankenfurter in Rocky Horror Show in
Oh, you
college.
did that.
Oh my God. It was so much fun. It was also the first time I had been like, I had played something so far from myself
Yeah.
that I felt, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can actually, I think I could actually do this
The
forever.
heels, the
The
yeah.
heels,
That was your first,
everything.
Was that your
was
first
my-
heels
Was
moment?
that my first heels moment?
You have to
must
think
been.
about it.
It must
I
have
like
been. I
that.
know. I do have to think about it. I guess that was my first heels moment. Yes.
Is there video or photo of
Oh,
this?
it's all over the place.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
You could
okay,
actually
okay.
get it. Yeah.
I mean, I saw you in
I think my
company.
grandmother has about 6 DVDs of it. But that was. It was also the role I think where my parents saw it and were. I don't want to say okay, but for the first time, I think for them it solidified. Oh, he's going to be okay. He can do this.
This kid's got something.
Yeah, I think it's my dad because usually my amazing, kind, generous, wonderful father. Sometimes the first thing he says after he sees the show, he says, "Great job, way to go. The car is parked over there." This time he went on and on about the show, which was like, oh, okay, so Dad really likes this. And my dad would also spend his nights throwing popcorn at the screen, when he was a kid,
Yeah, the
talking
movie,
back to the
Rocky
movie and
Horror,
stuff.
yeah.
So it meant a lot to them, and so
Oh, that's
it
cool.
was just this amazing experience where everything sort of came together. Yeah.
So what do you want to do next?
Oh, I don't know.
Film, TV.
I think maybe a little film and TV.
Yeah.
Maybe something that's not 8 days a week.
Sure.
Or 8 times a week.
You have to come back, though.
Imagine if there were 8 days in a week.
8.
But there is nothing like the live experience.
Yeah.
There is nothing like theater. There is nothing like the thing that you cannot ever get. I got mad the other day when I saw someone filming the play. Someone was on their phone filming the play, and I got mad because the very thing that we're doing is so anti that.
Yeah.
It is so right now, this moment right here, and tomorrow, this moment that we're playing will be different because I'll be different.
Sure.
And the scene partner will be different. And the audience will be different.
Yeah.
So that the lifeblood, the beauty that is theater will never ever be less than amazing to me. So returning to the theater is very, very important to me.
Did you have to pull a Lapone? Did you yell at the person?
No, that would have been awesome. But she like when she went off stage, she just snuck. She
Oh,
just,
that's
like,
a different
grabbed
one.
right
that
up.
was for shows for days. But when she did Gypsy, she yelled.
Oh,
in the
she
middle.
did?
Yeah, it's on. There's audio of that on YouTube.
Oh,
Along
I
with
gotta-
you as
I gotta take
Frankenfurter,
it.
apparently.
There was one time though when along with me as Frankenfurter, there was one time where some woman who I don't think had ever been to a play before was like unwrapping her giant bag of whatever in the very front row, and as I'm staying with somebody in the scene, and so I just take my next line directly to her, and she went like this. So I felt bad in that moment, but I was also like, come on, like we're
Yeah.
trying to do
Yeah.
the play, and there's just crinkle, 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 but but the theater is the magic place for
Cool.
me. Yeah.
Hey, Caitlin. What are the people
Yeah.
online asking?
Yeah, definitely. Let's do some questions.
Questions.
So Aaron asks, do you find it difficult to get where you need to be emotionally for playing a character like Toby Darling, especially when you do it just part 1 or part 2 days?
Yes and no at the same time. Before the play, I have a lot of there's the normal amount of anxiety, which is like I have to go through this again.
Right.
But the moment we step on stage, most of that alleviates. And usually, if I just can convince myself to find the courage to step onto the stage, it usually takes care of me. The play has an amazing quality of taking care of all of us and giving us the little things that we need to carry us through emotionally. So I guess the answer is yes and no at the same time. Yeah.
Nice. All right, so Alexa goes, since this marks your Broadway debut, what do you remember the most from your very first preview performance? If anything, what do you remember?
On Broadway.
Yeah.
Very first preview performance. I remember saying to some of our castmates, this actually might have been at the Invited Dress because that kind of felt like our first preview.
Yeah.
But I remember saying, we will never feel this way again. Like this is, we don't know what this is going to be, how they're going to react. This feeling right here on the precipice of this sort of giant leap is an amazing thing that I wanted to bottle. And I remember writing down in my little notebook, like, here we go. I mean, I remember thinking, this could be, I remember thinking, I have no idea what's going to happen in the next 3 hours, but hopefully it goes well.
They cried at the end. That's what
Yes, exactly.
Definitely. We can do one last question, and Tina wants to know what goes into you preparing yourself for, 2 show days, because your 2 show days, you're doing 2 different plays, essentially.
Yeah.
It really is 2 show days. So
Yes.
2 days, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of sleep the night before, some CBD oil that day, a lot of yoga, a lot of breathing, and we actually play a lot of games with each other before the show as a cast. This play requires a connectedness amongst the humans telling it that we all warm up and play theater games together. So it's like a lot of joy and laughter and tricking myself into thinking that I'm ready to do this thing all over again. So.
You're the first actor I've ever spoken to who talks about CBD.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people use it now.
I
What
swear
does
by
do
it
for you?
now. It sort of, I was just talking about this last night, actually. It just takes the edge off. When I feel all the voices in my head telling me I'm either not good enough or that there's a famous person in the audience who I really respect who is going to hate me or, whatever, all the projections that we put onto those voices, it takes them, it sort of silences them for me. And it makes, if my heart is beating very fast, it sort of quiets my heartbeat and just allows me to be the best version of myself.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. You are good enough. You don't have to worry about it.
Oh, well, thank you.
You are
I,
good enough.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. You've heard me say it many times on Broadway.com, but go see The Inheritance. It's like one of my favorite plays ever. I think it is my favorite play ever.
Come see it.
And
It's
I will
true.
remember your performance and the entire London and Broadway cast
Thank you so
forever.
much.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
It's at the Barrymore Theater through March 15th. And hey, come back.
I will.
Come back soon.
Promise.
Good to see you. Hey, Caitlin, why don't you take us out?
Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are live at 5 every single weekday here on Facebook, and you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts by searching for #live at 5 and hitting that subscribe button. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when we talk to Matiko Glover all about all the Natalie Portmans.